Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you after a very successful week, a winning week. I got Gingy, I got Laskers. What's there to say negative about a team when they play a football game like that, guys?
Mutant Gingy in the house. Whole lot less donkey. We talked about it last week. Some of these minor problems that you're seeing, they don't get highly scrutinized and criticized quite as much when you come away with the dub. I liked what I saw on a lot of different facets. Offense, getting bigger plays. Defense, some questions still. Healthy return to TJ Watt. Looks real good back there. Glad to come away with a dub.
Yeah, yes, it does. I mean, say what you want about this, and everybody wants to talk about can he Pickett this, can he Pickett that, can he get the job done? The real question is there a way to make sure that TJ Watt plays where he's just, permanently healthy? Because what's the record? 1-10 when he doesn't play Laskers? Was that, in fact, I know you didn't get to see the game, but was that, in fact, the biggest part of this win against New Orleans, the 2010 win?
Oh, I definitely that was the biggest part. And I don't know if it was 1-10 or 1-12, whatever it is. TJ, can you please stay healthy, buddy? Because we need you all the time. And also, that's a problem that we need you all the time. And I understand that, but we need that.
Now, Gingy, you say defense had some things. They only gave up 10 points, caused 2 turnovers, got to the quarterback. Alex Highsmith, Defensive Player of the Week. You're looking at a defense with DeMonte Kazi coming in, stepping in for Minka, not missing a beat at all. You take away one, in my question, iffy penalty, because apparently you play football in skirts now, and the fact that Robert Spillane can't cover anyone and the poor dude starting in front of Miles Jack got abused for 1 touchdown, like literally the whole drive was abusing him. That defense played lights out, Gingy. That's something this team can build on. And as we talked about last week, me and you, we talked about this. We're on the soft part of the schedule. Really, all we need is average offense with this defense, and there's a good chance the Steelers go on a run.
I agree. W makes things all better, donkey. We got out and we got one done versus a team that we should have, and we did it in 2-score fashion.
Yeah. Honestly, me and you talked about what I consider average offensive production. It's 23 points. That's 4 scores because I say it's 5 scores, 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals at least. The Steelers should have been there and actually should have surpassed average offensive production this week, as we had 2 drives that didn't score because our kicker missed the kicks. I mean, say what you want, Matthew Wright did not look very good in this game. He was probably the only spot I would say is a weakness was, well, let me rephrase. Gingy, tell me how you feel about this. I felt the Steelers had 3 weaknesses last week. The kicker, Matthew Wright missing 2 field goals. The offensive line's pass protection was terrible, but the run blocking was great, so I'm not really sure I'm upset about this. And, I'm sorry, but Robert Spillane. Those are the only 3 weaknesses I saw in this team last week.
Well, Spillane, yeah, and gotta hang in there in the pass protection. Kazi, excellent. Kazi, excellent return. Big play guy.
The return of him could be really big for this upcoming week. You're talking Minka back from appendectomy. Sorry, I had to say it slow because if I try to say it fast, I'm going to really mess it up. Got his appendix removed, missed the game, but he's back now. The Steelers now have the opportunity to show one of the few winning opponents they're going to play for the rest of the year, a wrinkle no one else has seen that was a huge selling point going into this year, the ability to play 3 safety packages. Laskers, you didn't really get to see KZ's debut, but 3 safeties going into this week could be a really nice thing to see, don't you think?
Oh, it definitely gonna be a good thing. We need all the safeties we can get. If we could get 5, I'd be good with that too. But yeah, the more the better.
And Gingy,
the more the merrier.
Since Laskers really can't break down the game, I'm going to break down the game real quick what I saw. Like I said, special teams, blah. Defense played outstanding. The TJ Watt effect is for real. Makes Alex Highsmith look like the absolute monster when he's on the field. Devin Bush played another game where you didn't notice him as a middle linebacker. That's not necessarily a bad thing, the fact that you didn't notice him at all. It means he was doing his job. We held the Saints to what? 30 rushing yards, I think it was. The defense caused 2 turnovers, played lights out. And then on offense, Kenny Pickett did what a rookie needs to do.
29.
Told you under 30. He controlled the passing game, didn't turn the ball over, scores a rushing touchdown with his legs, I believe, again. I think he's leading the team in rushing touchdowns now with 3. You saw him get the ball to Pickens. You saw him get the ball to Firemans. You saw Deontay Johnson be the number 1 target he needs to be going forward. And really, New Orleans doesn't have a great pass interference on them because it stopped a touchdown. Deontay has an outstanding game. Pickett's line looks amazing. But what I really want you to break down, Gingy, and it looked a lot different this week, was the Pittsburgh Steelers with 200 rushing yards. Seriously, tell me how that happened.
That brings the whole I don't know how that happened, Donkey, but that brings the whole offense together. We can actually have a variety. Donkey, I didn't know what we were going to call all the time on offense. I felt like we had variety. We had the ability to mix it up. The defense had to account for those yards on the ground. That's what that offense, like you said, to get that quote-unquote average production, they need the run game. They need the run game to help support that rookie quarterback.
For sure, and they definitely showed up. I mean, Najee a yard short of his first 100-yard game. I think Warren, again, went out there, had a pretty good game, about 40-ish yards. Kenny ran for another 50 or 60 because apparently he's just running for his life all the time. I know a lot of people don't like it. But to me,
50,
the development of Kenny Pickett was this week, Gingy. You saw him throw the ball still at those multi-covered situations, but he didn't throw it where it was near catchable. They were throwaways. They were nothing's open, so I'm going to get rid of the ball in an area rather than trying to force a ball into an area. I think that is a huge part of the development and will be a huge part going forward if Kenny Pickett can continue to do it, because if he cuts down on those turnovers, you have a TJ Watt-led defense. This is a hard team to beat. We've proven it the past, 3 years? It doesn't matter who's back there at quarterback. If they can control the football when Watt's healthy, this defense has a good chance of keeping you in a football game, if not winning it themselves. I'll take that moment of silence as I left everybody absolutely speechless about that. I mean, great take, Donkey.
You address that to Gingy, but I agree with it 100% that TJ is the player that we need to see out on the field every down, unfortunately, on defense. But we need
really
that.
Getting after the quarterback, hopefully, Donkey. That's what you need. Disruptions on for their offense. Not allowing. I talked a lot before about allowing teams to run their game on us. And the way that we played football, I think, this week is we did not allow the Saints to execute exactly what they wanted to come in and do.
That's true. And poor Red Rocket now falls to 3-14 career as a starter against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Poor dude just cannot beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Either of you two have anything else to say about this game? Because to me, this was the perfect game played the way the Pittsburgh Steelers need to play a football game.
Glad to be back on the winning side of things.
Laskers, any closing thoughts on this one?
No, I don't have anything. Glad we won.
Before we get into breaking down the Cincinnati game, I told Gingy to be ready. I want to see if he is ready. I said the thing that's going to lead us into this is the Gingy differential, which is what was the most important part of the last game from Gingy's perspective. So, Gingy, floor is all yours.
The most important part of what's going to happen for Cincinnati?
Or preferably the last game, but either one. I'll take both. We'll
the
make
differential?
It both.
Okay.
Perfect.
Last game, Donkey, we talked about it in our main explanation. The differential, clearly the running game. Let me point out both the running game of Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris improved, in my opinion.
20-yard runs.
Yes, exactly. I saw some things from Harris that made me feel better than maybe we were talking about heading into last week. And you could see the differential it affects every area of the football game, Donkey. Number one, our defense is able to get some rest. Our time of possession increased. Major factor. We were able to control the pace of the game. We dictate these things, Donkey, and that's what led to us being able to keep them limited on the points on their side. Is our defense got rest and we controlled the pace of the game. So Gingy differential, stepping up and running the football.
It is. It was huge. Najee, his first over 20-yard carry of the year. Big to see. I think Jalen Warren added a 20-yard carry. You're talking the offensive line was going out and getting people on the running game. That was good to see. I agree with you. The absolute backbreaking was the running game being able to get going for the first time all year. Would have liked to see that 100-yard rusher, but can't quibble too much when you're having a good one. Najee being decisive, one cut and go, and that's something he hasn't done all year. Good to see. Coming off the bye weeks, that's what you need. You need this type of aggression for this team going forward. Now, going forward, that is the opponent right here you're seeing. That's the Cincinnati Bengals. We already broke down all the season series stuff, but it changed a little bit. Steelers now 68-38 all time versus the Bengals, 34-18 at home. First meeting ever at Acrisure Stadium, albeit because it's different named, but that is what it is. The biggest win, like we said, was the Bengals 42-7 in 1988. The largest streak is the Bengals had 6, the Steelers had 11. The current streak, no longer Cincinnati at 3, but Pittsburgh at 1, because week 1 this year, the Steelers win the game 23-20. A very Pittsburgh Steelers type of win. Offense didn't seem to do nothing. Had to go to overtime. Defense forces 6 turnovers. TJ Watt looks like a man-child. Highsmith had 3.5 sacks week 1. Should much have changed this week? I don't know. The Steelers will obviously be without Ahkello Witherspoon, but huge note, Minkah Fitzpatrick back 1 week later. So you get all 3 safeties healthy for the first time all year. That should be good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when you break down the Bengals by the numbers, I mean, you're talking, what are they? A really good passing team. I believe they're 4th in the league in passing yards, 27th in rushing yards. Should play into the Steelers' hands. You're talking the Bengals are playing this week without their best receiver, Jamar Chase. This is the type of game the Steelers should be able to get something going. The Bengals have a top 6 scoring offense. They're 6th in the league in yards per game. But you go defensive, they're 13th in points a game. They allow 20. That's right about where the Steelers should be getting. They're 9th in yards. I mean, they're a decent defense, but they don't really sack the quarterback. It is a big thing. They're 30th in the league in sacks. They do a good job possessing the ball. They have the most time of possession in the league. They have 8 interceptions. This is going to be a game when you look at the numbers. The Steelers need to run the ball because we need to control that time of possession and not let the Bengals just drain the clock. The Steelers need to get after Joe Burrow, clearly, because that's the way you're going to do it. Without a top-off receiver right now, I know T. Higgins kind of is, but without Jamar Chase there, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, the Steelers can slow him down a little bit. And let's not forget, this is a Bengals team who last year said the Steelers just quit when they played them. I think that plays into this team getting up. I think this team will be ready. But what are you seeing out there, Laskers?
Oh, I'm definitely seeing us showing up and quenching that last year statement. We're going to show up and make sure that we win that game.
How about you, Gingy? What are you seeing in this football game?
Speaking of quenching that last year's statement, I made a point of that in week 1 that we were going to do just that. And Minkah came out like a man possessed. Picked off Joe Burrow's first pass of the season?
Definitely first drive touchdown.
First or second, yeah.
One of the two, yeah. But I think, again, if you don't get up for this one, division game at home, I mean, there's something wrong with you.
Any concern?
I think the boys are going to be ready.
Yeah, me too. Any concern from either of you that the Bengals had a bye week coming into this? You think that extra week of preparation is going to help Cincinnati coming into this game?
No, not at all.
I think bye week.
Concerned.
I think bye week helps all teams after they have it, Donkey. But you mentioned a key factor for me in one of the in what you were talking about there, and that is a person who absolutely shredded us during the first game of the season, Jamar Chase. Him being absent, I think, Donkey, is a huge impact on this rematch.
I agree with you as well. As you've seen, the Bengals since the Jamar Chase injury have really been leaning more into Joe Mixon. I believe Mixon at one point in the last couple games had a 5-touchdown game or something along that matter. But you're talking a quarterback in Joe Burrow who in 9 games has been sacked 30 times. That's over 3 times a game. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. Is the pressure gonna get there? Is the pressure gonna be the changing point on defense? Or do you guys think it's something else? Because to me, I think Joe Mixon's gonna have a Joe Mixon against the Steelers game. I'm expecting 120 rushing yards and at least a touchdown out of Joe Mixon running the ball. Where I think this game needs to be won for the Steelers, it's Alex Highsmith, it's TJ Watt, it's one of those two forcing a turnover.
I think we need to get pressure on Burrow. I mean, that's the biggest thing. If we can't get pressure, then how are we going to win the game?
Let's take a look at and improve upon the formula from week 1. We're not going to discount that this is a division opponent, a team that we see regularly, and we ought to use that to our advantage. All right, so week 1, what happened, Donkey?
6 turnovers.
What
I
did
don't
we
know
do?
how you improve on that formula. I am very curious to hear, though.
Well, you certainly continue to replicate
7.
that formula.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
7
Laskers.
would be nice.
Thank you.
That's a good call, Laskers. And, yeah, getting after Burrow, disrupting what they wanted to do, trying to shut down Mixon. I know that you're taking that as a for granted, but if we're able to hold him under 100, that definitely helps our pacing.
We hold
In terms of
Mixon under 100 yards. I don't think the Bengals break 17.
Well, there you go. Hot, you heard it here first, boys. But one of the other key points that you made is, yes, indeed, Kenny Pickett taking care of the ball, making good decisions, not trying to force into tight windows, being able to bootleg out and throw it away. Definitely part of a good development for him. Very, very happy to see that too, Donkey. And I think that's going to be key here is him protecting the ball and not being able to give the Bengals any free points or any real gimmies. We can't beat ourselves here, Donkey.
That's true. That's true. I agree with what we're saying about the defense side of the ball. I like the way you broke it into starting on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, I think a splash play needs to be made. Those 20-plus yard runs, those long completions, the splash plays need to happen again. Kenny Pickett needs to hit those throws when they're there. Even Deontay Johnson needs to find a way to avoid the pass interference, let's just say. But I feel going into this week, I feel this is a Steelers-Bengals game. I feel that means it's advantage Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm looking for Najee Harris and Jalen Warren to keep splitting the load. I'm looking for Najee to stay aggressive and push the ball upfield. You've seen what a difference it makes when he just one cuts an upfield. I don't think the offensive lines, I mean, their blocking was clearly a little better last week running than it's been all year, but I don't think it was drastically better to where Najee should have been doubling his yards per carry, which is what it felt like. The difference to me was the way Najee ran the ball, going upfield, getting 3-4 more yards every carry than he was getting at the start of the year. I think that trend continues. I think the Steelers look to throw the ball less. I would love to see Kenny Pickett's pass number. I know it dropped down to 30. I think that's the lowest since he's been a starter and played the whole game. Good to see. I'd love to see it more at 25. I want to see 25 passes, 40 runs. I want to see Najee Harris with a $120. I want to see Jalen Warren with 40 yards. I want to see Kenny Pickett with only like 20 yards because I don't want him running for his life again. At the end of the day, the big guys up front are going to be the differential in this game. Can they protect Kenny Pickett? Can they keep the ball clean? And can we get, I know this sounds crazy and no one wants to talk about it. Can we get a first quarter lead? Because look at the games where the Steelers have led in the first quarter. We win those freaking games. It's the first quarter. That's what matters. This offense, this defense, these special teams players, they need to show up in the first quarter. We show up in the first quarter, I think we win this football game. What are you guys thinking?
I think if we show up in the first quarter, that makes a huge difference. You show up in the first quarter, it already automatically leads to you winning the second quarter and the third quarter and the fourth quarter. I think that we have to show up in the first and be ahead in the first.
Gingy, what do you think? Because I'm pretty sure here, but I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers scored a touchdown in the first quarter to take the lead in every game they won. Because I know we did it week 1 against Cincy. I know we did it this week against New Orleans. And I'm pretty damn sure in the Tampa Bay game, we scored a first quarter touchdown. First quarter touchdowns, early leads, is this team's recipe for success because then we get to play the game on our schedule.
100%. I was just going to say that too, Don. We get to play the game on our schedule. And that's part of the formula of not playing into the other team's plans, right? The other team, every team plans to get out and get the quick start. Every plans for that, right? Let's have our team get out and get the quick start.
We did score against the Buccaneers first in the first quarter, just so you guys know.
I thought so. I knew we scored in the first quarter. I didn't think the Buccaneers had scored by then because we led wire to wire, so I should have known that we did. Duh, stupid donkey. That's all I got. You guys got anything else that you're seeing in this game before you want to get to X factors and predictions? Any other last notes of what the Steelers need to do or what you're looking for in terms of key matchups? Because to me, the key matchups, like I said, is this offensive line getting a push in the run game.
Classic division matchup.
Dare we say
despite all the turmoil.
Or a snot knocker?
Yeah. Snot knocker. AFC North football. Despite all the turmoil that the Steelers have endured this season, record-wise, otherwise, a sweep of the Bengals sure would be nice.
Be great. Here.
All right, well, that sounds like we did a pretty good cap of it. Laskers, I want to start predictions this week with you, but I don't want to start on the Steelers-Bengal game. I want to start on the other AFC North games we got going on this week. And we got Cleveland at Buffalo at Detroit?
At Detroit,
is that how we want to say it?
Yes, I think that's appropriate.
So who'd you got in the Cleveland at Buffalo at Detroit game?
I'm going Buffalo by 20.
Ooh, boy. Gingy.
Buffalo for me here. No, nothing crazy.
I got Buffalo too. Then we got Carolina coming to Baltimore. PJ Walker keep winning football games, Lasker?
Why can't I find that one on my thing to see the stats? I'm going to go Baltimore, I think. And that's a little rough for me to pick that one.
Gingy.
Baltimore.
I too like the Ravens. So let's get into it. Steelers, Bengals. I need a score. I need an X factor. Laskers, lead us off.
Steelers 24-18. X factor TJ Watt.
I like it.
You knew I had to go that. You knew I had to do that.
Gingy, what you got?
We are looking at oh my goodness, this game's going to get wild, donkey. It's going to get wild like the first one. I'm looking at 29-27, Pittsburgh Steelers, X Factor being Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers offense this week, donkey. I'm telling you, I think that these classic division games, right? They always come down to something juicy, something spicy, right? At the end, and we've been used to Ben Roethlisberger being at the end of these games. Before too long here, I think Kenny Pickett's going to have to show who he is at the end of one of these nail biters.
That's fair.
Might be this week.
I got your Pittsburgh Steelers winning at 24-15. And your X Factor has to be none other than Najee Harris doing something he hasn't done all year. At least I don't think he has. Laskers, verify my stat here, but I believe Najee Harris goes over the 100-yard mark for the first time all year and has such a good game that Kenny Pickett's not leading the Steelers in rushing touchdowns after this week.
You know that's going to be a really hard thing for me to find out because it's not
He had
easy.
99 yards last week, and I'm pretty sure that was his season high. So we'll just go ahead and say Donkey's for sure right, because it is my show after all, right, Gingy? No, I'm just fucking... I'm just kidding with everybody.
Always, Donkey, always.
Donkey's always right. That's. We should just change the title of the show now to Donkey's Right.
Donkey's right. Well, considering he has 460 yards for the season, yeah, I'm going to go with you're probably right.
Well, that does our wrap up here. Let us know what you think in the comments about who's going to be the X Factor and what the score is going to be. It's time for us to give our shout outs, though. Gingy, I know, is off hiatus because we won a football game. Gingy, go ahead and lead it off.
Shout out to the return of KZ in the defense, baby. Making some noise back there. Ball hawking, making plays. Interception. Shout out. Well needed return, Donkey. Much needed return.
For sure, for sure. Laskers, how about your shout out?
I was going to go TJ too. You know, shout out for you returning, and I know he didn't do that, but shout out to TJ for returning, and thank you for coming back. We needed you right now.
All right, everybody left the low-hanging fruit for me, and I love it. A guy who I've criticized a lot because I don't like his run block ability, but the shout-out has to be AFC Defensive Player of the Week, Alex Highsmith, showing up, balling out, and hey, if you look at his numbers when TJ Watt's played this year, the dude would set the record for sacks by like 100, because I believe it's, 6 sacks in 2 games that TJ Watt has played. That pace is ridiculous.
Something like that.
So let's keep it up, Alex Highsmith. TJ's there. Your running mate's there. You're getting one-on-ones all day. Take advantage of them. Take advantage of this Bengals line that has struggled protecting Joe Burrow, and make this game yours. Go out, do it, get the job done. That's what I want to see. I guess it's that time now. I got to let you know that I am the Viking Donkey. It's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger is a YouTube channel. I'll try my best to get the bug cap out this week, but like I said, sick all week, made it hard, barely got the power rankings done. Laskers, Gingers, thank you for turning in your homework. Don't forget to leave us a comment at Your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger, the YouTube channel where you catch all the comments. Leave us a follow, subscribe, so you get the notifications whenever we go live and give you this magnificent content, because we're all about positivity this week because the second half of the season started on the right foot. I'll send it over to Laskers.
It's Laskers everywhere. If you can't figure out how to spell it, it's the state minus the first A and ERS at the end.
Perfect. Got it. Mutant Gingy in the house. We talking football. We playing games. We celebrating the dub, and we're looking for another one. Steelers Nation. Cincinnati Bengals coming to town. Let's get a sweep. If you ain't excited for this one, you ain't knowing about the AFC North. Let's get it. Let's get it, folks. Wave them if you got them. Let's go. Here we go, Steelers.